guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be testing out some no borax popular slime recipes. I'm not a slime channel and I don't make slime all the time, but I'm testing out these recipes. If I make them wrong, then please don't roast me, okay? If you guys are new to my channel, then please subscribe down below. Also turn on my post notifications by clicking the little bell. I'm giving shout outs to people who turn on my post notifications. So today's shout out will be at the end of this video, so be sure to stick around. Also, one more thing, I do have merch, so if you guys want to go check that out, the link will be below. Let's just get started with this video. So the first slime that we're going to be testing out is butter slime. So all I'm doing is pouring some glue into a bowl and then adding some shaving cream. I added a lot. I wasn't really sure how much to add because the video that I watched didn't have exact measurements. But then I just mixed that together and I found that using a spatula works a lot better with slime. And then I added some yellow paint. You could add yellow food coloring, but I just think paint is less messy and it won't stain my hands like food coloring would. Plus I didn't have yellow food coloring. So then with the magic of editing, it's already mixed together. So then I added some baking soda because we're not going to be using borax or liquid starch for this slime. So all I did was add a half a teaspoon of baking soda, I believe, and then I added some contact solution, and as you can tell, it already started getting thicker, and I just kept adding this until it was no longer sticky, and yeah, that's basically it. You guys have probably seen a lot of slime channels use contact solution, and this is honestly my favorite method to making slime. It's just so easy in my opinion, and it's obviously safer than using borax. So now, eventually, the slime was ready. It was no longer sticking to my hands, and it worked great. I love how fluffy this is. So I am using the method where you add Model Magic clay to the slime, and I know you're supposed to have white Model Magic clay. My Michaels ran out of that, so I just used yellow, and this was perfect since I was making yellow butter slime. And then I just added this, but I realized that this clay was pretty tough. I have no idea how long my Michaels had it. They may have had it for like months or weeks. I mean, I doubt they had it for months, but I don't know, this was just really hard to combine into the clay, so I had a really hard time mixing this in, and I realized that I probably should have added smaller amounts of the clay at a time because that would have made it easier. And as you can tell, I tried spreading the butter slime. It didn't really work that well, and the more I played with this, it got really tough to stretch. So I decided to make it again because I did not want to give up. So I added less glue this time. I added some food coloring. First I added the contact solution before the baking soda, then I added the baking soda, mixed that together, and I just kept mixing and mixing and eventually it just turned into slime. I didn't have to add as much of the contact solution since I made way less slime. And then I took a small amount of clay because I did not want to add too much. This definitely worked out a lot better than the first butter slime I made, so I was just combining this and mixing it together, and it stretched really nicely. I feel like this worked. It's definitely not perfect because I've watched other slime channels make butter slime with Model Magic clay, and it just looks a lot better than this. But overall, I feel like this worked. I even cut it and I spread it again, and I just really like how it turned out. So for the crunchy slime, all I'm doing is adding some glue into a bowl, once again, just like the last slime, and I'm adding some paint. You could add food coloring. I just thought this purple color was super pretty, so I wanted to make my slime purple. I added way too much of the liquid starch, and yeah, I totally just screwed up this slime. It doesn't look good at all. This was a fail, so I really wanted to try this again. So I made this slime again. Once again, I added glue and I just poured that into this bowl, and then I added the paint, mixed that together, and then I added a small amount of of liquid starch at a time. Once again, I just kept stirring it, and as you can tell, it's getting thicker, but it's still super sticky, so I added even more liquid starch. I realized I added too much. Once again, as you can tell, I just added way too much. Yeah, this was just way too like stringy, if that makes any sense. Like, it was very thin and very hard to play with, so I wanted to make it again. I was not going to give up, you guys. So third time's a charm, am I right? So all I did was make the slime again. I added a very small amount of liquid starch. I was trying my best not to pour too much because I barely use liquid starch. Like I said, I like using the contact solution to make slime, so there was still a lot of liquid starch in this container, so it was very easy to pour out a lot by accident. So I just kept adding a little bit at a time, and eventually the slime was ready. I was so happy of how this turned out. I just took this popsicle stick and kind of tried to get the slime out of the bowl. So you're supposed to leave the slime a little bit sticky just so that the beads can stick to it. So I added the beads. These are by Bead Landing, but I do really like these beads. They worked fine. My Michaels was out of the beads that crunchy slime is usually made from. But I added a little bit more of the Stawflow or liquid starch. It's still pretty crunchy. I love the texture. So the last slime that I'm going to be testing out is cereal slime. So this is super cool. It's basically like Fruit Loop slime. So all I'm doing is adding a full cup of glue and half a cup of shaving cream and half a cup of foaming hand wash or hand soap. And you're just going to mix that together. And then I just added a half a teaspoon of baking soda, I believe, and then also some contact solution. And I had to add a lot of contact solution for this, let me just tell you. And I just kept adding more and more and mixing it together. It was getting thick, but since this was so much slime, like this is way more slime than I normally make. Like you guys saw, I just made a very small amount of the butter slime and the crunchy slime. So eventually I discovered that I needed to put this in a bigger bowl because this was a lot of slime. So I eventually ended up running out of the contact solution and I had a bigger bottle, so I just added more of that, and eventually this is what the slime turned out to look like. It is beautiful. I just really like this slime. This is definitely one of the best. I love making fluffy slime. It's great. Would recommend this recipe. It works great. And this is just so satisfying, you guys. I love fluffy slime. It's probably my favorite slime. Then it was time to make the cereal portion or the Fruit Loops. I just made some really bright, colorful colors. I don't know what I'm saying. I made some bright colors. So all I did was use polymer clay, which is an oven baked clay, and I flattened it. I used this little circle cookie cutter, and then I cut out a bunch of circles for the Fruit Loops, and then I poked a hole to create the Fruit Loop, and I just used the bottom of a paintbrush for that. And then I baked them in the oven at 275 degrees for 15 minutes. Just be sure to follow the instructions on your clay package. This is what it turned out to look like. So satisfying, and it definitely works. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, be sure to turn on my post notifications so that you can have a shout out in my next video. And today's shout out goes to this person on the screen. Also, I am going to VidCon and I'm only gonna upload one more video before VidCon, so I'm sorry I haven't talked about it that much, but I am going to VidCon in Anaheim, California, which is near LA. So if you guys are going next week, then please let me know in the comments. I would love to meet you. Please say hi to me because I love meeting you guys. It's so much fun. This is my 3rd year going. I'm going with my cousins and my mom. So if you see me walking around, then please say hi. I would love to meet you and talk to you and take a picture.